Karen the Warp Spinster here. Thanks for spending some time with me today. We are going to be revisiting this collage of leavings that I have left over from another project. And last time, in the previous episode, we just made a collage of tiny triangles I had left from doing corner fold backs. And then I just, for some contrast, I threw in some 2.5-inch square triangles. And I just glued them on just to hold them in place, and then did some stitching. Didn't like this side because there was too much stitching. And then we added some foofara on there and tried some different decorative stitches in other colors. Sliced that off because we didn't like it that much. And then decided we could do fun things with that, and that's where we are today. I have with me 2 more that I made. One that has pink and green. This may be my favorite so far. There's a little glitch there I might want to fix. And then there's one in blue and orange, which takes me back to my grad school days in Denver. It's the Bronco colors. And so we have those 3 we can play with, roughly the same side. A couple of observations I made while I was making these 2. First of all, I only did the straight white stitching. This is a 3.0 length. I didn't do any curves, which I reserved for the decorative stitches and the couching on this one. I haven't done that yet. I will at some point if I decide to proceed with this. Anyway, on this one, I used stabilizer, as I did on this one. This one I did not, because stitching straight lines, I figured I'd be okay, and I was. It was fine. I will put stabilizer on if I do the decorative stitches, because it will just need that so that it doesn't pull things in. Honestly, it felt better to me with stabilizer, even though I didn't really need it. I don't know, maybe I just got used to doing this. But it felt better with stabilizer, but certainly worked fine with this. This is not really anything different than we do when we're sewing quilt seams the traditional way, except it's only, some places, a single layer of fabric. Anyway, couple other things I was going to, one thing, interesting thing I noted, and it's neither here nor there, probably doesn't affect you, but I'm so conscious of the rule of thirds at this point in my life that I tended to leave the center almost blank, and I had to go fill in the center, which was sort of odd to me. I also liked this bit of texture and color variation in this particular print that I used, which was not, didn't use any other pink, did I? When I did my other quilt, I was using this pink, which would have been fine too, but I discovered I really liked that extra texture in there. So these are all things to keep in mind as I consider doing more of these or expanding on, here's one thing, that baby doesn't have any stitches going through them, so I will have to do that. If I expand on this and do it on a larger scale, things to keep in mind as I'm thinking about how I might do that. But today, we are here to talk about how we might put these things together. So I have these 3 pieces, and I also have some of the various colors of fabric, and then I also have black and white stripe, and I cut some bias strips of that bias section. I've got some black fabric, and of course I always have white fabric. So let's get started with that. This we decided might be kind of fun to shift it and then put something in between, and a variety of opinions about what we might want there. So we have that option. I'll pull up the sleeves for this contemplation time. We have that option. We have a diagonal stripe. I kind of like that. I wasn't sure I was going to, because I thought it would just be too much, but I think that adds just a little bit of motion to it that I like. And then, of course, we have these spots at the top and the bottom. And what would we do with those? And we were just doing a little brainstorming as I was going off on tangents last time. And we thought maybe it would be cool to do a stripe down here. We got a couple directions it can go, of course. I don't know how this is going to work, frankly, with if we have a stripe there, especially if it's going in a different direction. So we have an option of the stripe there. And then up here we could do, say, doing an awful lot of folding here, which I know is not necessarily a great representation of how it would look, but it will give us some idea anyway. And that would give it a almost an elegant kind of look. I want to say old world, but maybe not. Of course, I could always put more of this up here, which might be a little too much. What if we put one of those, oh, this is different blue. Let me, it's a brighter blue than what I had. Do I have any blue here? Grab some here. I think I have. See, it isn't the same, but it's closer than the other one was. So we have that option. I like that better. If we had the green down here and the blue up there, I might want them reversed though, because the green is really just the accent. Ooh, I think I'm liking that better than having that stripe. This stripe makes more of a statement if it's the strip there. I'm liking that quite a bit. Let's reverse these, see how that looks. So that we have less of the green. Be easier to be doing this on Procreate. Just saying. I don't get to fondle fabric that way though, do I? Honestly, I think I like it the other way, which surprises me. Maybe I want to balance out that green somehow because there's less of it. Something's going on, but I think I like that better. All right, so there's vote or opinion number one you can give. Green at the bottom, blue at the top, or green at the top, blue at the bottom, or do you want stripe and black? Just what would you like? Always the option to have white extending. Let me slice off just a bit of this so we aren't. So we could put white in down here, just extend that. Not sure that wouldn't make that look unfinished down there. Too abrupt, perhaps? The white looks too abrupt and the green doesn't for some reason. Oh, what might be kind of interesting if we decide to do this is to leave the couching or that until after we construct these blocks and then continue that down here to tie those together. Might be liking that idea. Don't know how much the green would show as it comes through here, and maybe that's okay. kind of liking that idea. All right, let me know what you think. So many questions for you. So many questions. Oh, and we also can debate about whether we want whether we want the large stripe, do we want it diagonal or straight, or do we want a narrow stripe? I don't have a diagonal piece of that, but it might be an option. And of course we can do different widths. So here's a narrower, oh, I kind of like that. For some reason, if it's the narrow stripe, I want it to be a narrow strip. Keep it all in scale or something, I guess. I still like the wide stripe better myself, but I don't hate this. But I definitely would want it in this narrower strip rather than the wider one, I think. I'm using that narrow stripe. It's a matter of personal taste, I think. So there are some options with each block on its own. I am going to take a minute to just go over to my machine and sew down this black triangle. It's the only one that doesn't have something running through it. Now I feel better. Now, another option we have, and somebody mentioned this and certainly probably went through a lot of people's minds, is to just essentially stack these and cut them the same, and then, or at least at the same angle. Not necessarily in the same place. So I could just swap those out. So cut the same angle and then swap those two out. And I think that color combination would be pretty. But the other thing we could do would be to take this same angle, but cut it a different distance. So let's say we do that, and then we swap out these pieces. That's what I'm doing here. And then we could swap these two, but put a strip in between. That fold is driving me a little crazy, so let's use this strip. And we can try different widths there. That's too wide for sure. And again, we can do the shift. We could put blue under here and green up here, or blue under there and pink up at the top. There are too many good choices. Don't know how I feel about that. It's an option. Not sure it's my favorite option. I sort of like the green, I think, because I've got green in both of these, and it ties them together a little better. What if I put the pink over here, though? I know folding's not ideal, but it's what we've got. Which would tie these two sides together. That looks like too much to me. You may love it. Looks like too much to me, for me. I could live with that. Kind of like it. Don't know if I love it. Maybe. Let's try just some plain black down there. There's perfect way to fold that. There's something appealing to me about that. So we do a lot of black and white and then have these pops of color in there. Did we try that with this other piece that just pulled those two back together? I guess we did, didn't we? Something to be said for that. It's a different kind of vibe. Sets a different tone, I think. But lots of options. I can see I would have to make lots of these blocks. What's our other option here? Blue. Pardon my allergy sinusy voice. Maybe. All right, so that's an option. More questions. Green at the top, blue at the bottom, green at the top, black at the bottom. We didn't try a stripe at the bottom. What I did with that piece. That's tough with that there. What if we put in, say we do a white strip in there. Don't know if that's what I want at all, but let's put one in there, see what happens. That would be better. Again, it's a completely different vibe. This makes me think of the, I don't know, 1890s, 1900s, I guess, good old summertime kind of thing with the awnings. The big stripes, more of a festive, I don't know, festival in the park kind of thing. Picnic in the park. Of course, we could also do the stripe running this way. And that will help to determine whether it's a more vertical or, well, let's put it this way. This is going to look pretty vertical because of the way that it's going. If we add the stripe going this way, it cuts that up so that you get some going that direction. And it depends on the look you want. Frankly, just by itself, with just this block, I think I like it with the vertical stripe. Should be taking pictures of these as I go, shouldn't I? I'll take a few afterwards. And you are probably seeing things that you immediately say, yes, that's it, that's what I like. And is likely different than what I like. That's why we're doing this. So we play with options and just learn how to make these decisions and try different things. All right, so there's that option where we combine these two that way. Of course, we could always just put them up against each other and combine them. But I think it really needs a break there because that's jarring to the eye, to my eye anyway, that those aren't meeting. Looks better to you. That's looking not too bad right there if I wanted to do that. These are two different greens, which might affect your decision. I think I really would like something in between those. Apparently I cut a very thin little strip. So just a little bit of something to break that up so your eye thinks, oh yeah, the rest of that one's just under there somewhere. It's a better transition, I think, for that. Now, other options though. We could insert this in the middle and put this to one side, in which case I'd probably trim those edges a little bit. And we could, of course, put strips in between. Let me find some. I had a straight strip. All right, so here's a, oh, here's something interesting we could do. Those are going the same direction. What if we, oh, never mind, Karen, it's a 45-degree angle. What are you thinking, girl? I could cut it differently so that these stripes would go this way and those that way. Of course, we could make those narrower or wider. Oops, sorry. As we wish. I don't know. That almost looks a little too much to me. Can you believe it? Something looks like too much. Too wild for Karen. What are the odds? So I could alternate. Sometimes do a black stripe and sometimes a diagonal black and white. Thought I had cut a strip. I did. Nope, I didn't. What about white in there? I don't think so, because as I was looking at this, my thought was I need to have something else in there. Too much white. Looks too much like two edges just shoved together. For me, the two diagonal stripes were too much. Too close together. This works better for me. And maybe I do not want black in between both of them, I don't think. And without trying, I'm pretty sure I don't want that. Then, of course, as we're adding other blocks on, or even if we're just doing this as a mini piece, then we can always put stripes going this direction and then add something else down here. What happened to this block? Honestly, I'm not sure about this orange and blue because it immediately looks like Broncos to me. I mean, they had phones that were blue and orange, and nothing, I love Denver, nothing against the Broncos. It's just that color combination has just one association for me at this point. So I might do, say, an orange and green, or an orange and blue. It's already orange and blue, orange and green, orange and pink. But I will try to set that aside for the moment. So you could start doing almost a sampler sort of thing. And you could even have, just pretend those are sliced there and put back together. I don't know if we want to mix different stripes or different directions of the black and white stripes. You could do that. This is probably all going right off frame, isn't it? Talking to you as if you can see what I'm doing. I was doing a Zoom call with a couple fellow quilt designers, and we were working in Illustrator, and I was demonstrating how you could do something, and they were all going, and bless their hearts. And I said, oh, wait, I haven't shared my screen, have I? It's kind of what I feel like here. That may be a little too much stripe going on there. I wonder if I swap these out, put the black stripe over here, vertical, diagonal stripe there, and this stripe here, and maybe another black stripe there. Or how about a narrow one of these stripes? That's too much, isn't it? Too much going on there. So again, I would reverse this, I think, and put the black over here. I could even do that and put, I'm not even going to try to remember what these are at this point. Put maybe this down here and then do, that's not right, is it? That won't work. Almost needs another black down here, or it could have colored stripe down here. This kind of pulls that all together, but doesn't really do anything for this. It does have almost the same blue. It would probably look better, frankly, if these were the same blue. They're a little bit different. Or I could put a blue strip in there. Maybe that's what's bothering me about that blue there, is it's the wrong kind of blue. It's more of a royal blue instead of this tealish kind of color. And if that were teal, then that would tie it together. So if I were putting these together, I might end up with sort of random, looks like random choices of stripes. Or maybe all of the stripes would be going one direction and the solids the other direction. Maybe. Not sure I like that idea, but it's a possibility. I am pretty much definitely liking the concept of these two with a stripe, either a straight, here's a straight, let's try it with a straight, either with a straight stripe in there. I do like a straight stripe too. Love me some straight stripe with colors here. And what did I decide? I kind of liked the green down here and blue up here or something, what I finally decided. Let's push this up and say we even those two out so that now we have sort of a block here, roughly. And then we can start putting in other blocks down here with perhaps a diagonal stripe here. Is that going to be too much? Sorry, losing frame. Here we've got a bit of a breakup with this fabric, and then something like black down here. So I guess the moral of the story for today is to choose a color palette and be consistent. You could have 3 bajillion kind of colors, but I would stick with maybe 4 and then black and white. And then you can play with how you want those all arranged and do it in a very specific pattern. So the verticals are always a black and white stripe, and these horizontals are all either, or these filler pieces are all either black or colors that tie in with the blocks they're next to. And if I were to make this, say, the pink and orange instead of the blue, then that might tie this all together. You could have one color that is in every block in one form or another. So these would all have green. This has green in the background. This is green in the foreground. And then you could repeat with some green in the background here so that that green ties everything together no matter what other colors you use. I guess that's, that's about it. That's lots of things to think about and decide on. And that's just kind of the process we go through, isn't it? What if this were here? What if that were here? What if we did that? And the thing about this is that it will make a lovely quilt in and of itself when I try these things out and put them together, but it also acts as a sort of testing a sandbox for what I might like to do in a larger quilt and what I might do differently if I were to make it a larger quilt or some iteration of this. I am also liking the idea of extending this couching and the zigzag or the decorative stitches coming through there and extending them into these pieces. The other thought I had, I really like big stitch, not as quilting so much, but as another decorative element. So I would take pearl cotton, probably pearl cotton, although it could be many other fibers. I could couch fibers again and do that on top at the end. I have a couple of quilts that I do that with, and it's really a nice textural addition to it and a way to visually tie things together. That's it, I guess. Nothing earth-shakingly new, just some things to think about and decide which you like. Now, you may not be using this configuration at all. You may not be liking the black and white stripes. I mean, you could do a pink and white stripe. You could create your own stripes. If you can't find a stripe that has the colors that you want, you could just put some together. That would be kind of fun. You could make some kind of wonky stripes here. Maybe that's something we'll explore next time, is doing some wonky stripes. We had the wonky waves that we were doing in the Wednesday series. Don't think I'd want that here. I think I would want them to be, just same width stripe, consistent width, but they might be kind of wonky stripes, uneven stripes in between. Or you could do a strip set and just do a regular stripe like this, but in the colors that you want. Might try that next week. That has some possibilities. Can you imagine that then tying this together? So maybe we have a green and white stripe to pull that together. I mean, the black and white pulls it together because that's in both of them. Or we could do like a green and pink that pulls this together. Or you could do a tricolor stripe or 4 color stripes, however many colors you're doing, so that that piece, that stripe, would tie everything together when you start putting the blocks together. Now, of course, I said that was it, but I was wrong. We don't have to do the blocks like this. We can also start turning them, or even just pieces of them. These two pieces theoretically go together, and you could do that, start sliding things around a bit, and create something a little different like that. Coming off frame again, sorry. There are so many options with these blocks. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. And you could do just one quilt this way. Just a little mini quilt here where you fill in with some stripes in between and some solids up there, and have yourself just a nice little mini quilt with just those pieces. I think I'm definitely going to do one that has this blue in it instead. So it will match this blue and it will look less. That's a Bronco blue. Again, nothing against the Broncos, and I love Denver. I think that's it now. So let me know in the comments what you think about how we fractured it or using stripes, and we'll explore the, I'll call it self-striping, where you make your own stripes. We'll explore that a bit next week, and some other layout ideas. I'll have another 1 or 2 of these finished then, I hope. And that, oh yes, I wanted to mention, somebody mentioned to me that she was playing with bobbin work, which is putting the specialty threads thicker threads in the bobbin, and you have a bobbin case that's dedicated just to that because your tension is going to be way wild compared to what you do on your sewing. And then you're essentially sewing things upside down. So I would be sewing from the back, and this would be coming out in the bobbin. And I haven't done much bobbin work. She said she's been playing with it, so maybe I'll see if she wants to be on a Zoom call someday that we can share what she's been exploring. Because honestly, it's something I've always wanted to do, and I just haven't. So that would be kind of fun to explore too. We have some ideas. I have this fear that I'm going to run out of things and you all will stop watching. But so far, I think I've still got some ideas. Of course, you can always send some ideas my way as well. I will keep doing these as long as you all want to keep watching. The audience is sort of, I think, we're honing in. I think in this case, honing is right, to what I mostly do, which is different from what a lot of other quilters are doing on YouTube. So it's sort of a complement to that, depending on what you're looking for. So I hope to see you back on Wednesday or next Sunday or both. If you have not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It helps others to find the channel, and the more the merrier. More ideas, more options for what we might do and discussion, and I love that. So please subscribe if you haven't. In the meantime, until I see you next, be well, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.